What's up, people? Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. The festive fixtures are coming thick and fast, and we can hardly keep up here on the channel, but we're going to do our very best. Lots of things have gone by since last we have come on air. Liverpool and Arsenal had a great tie, and Arsenal are yet to play again. Liverpool have gone on to the top of the table. Man City are champions of the world, a fifth trophy here in 2023. And Chelsea, bit of a back and forth week since last we've been on, but got the win today, so can't be too mad at that. But right out the rip, let's get those likes up on the video. Of course, as I said, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are on our way to 200 subscribers, and get that little bell on so you know when all the episodes are dropping. And we'll get right into it. Lewis, top of the world, champions of the world. How you telling me? What you telling me about that particular game, the Fluminense game?
Calling back some moments of my youth, there was John Cena, and he had a hand like this, right? And then he was like, no one could see him. And that's how many trophies that City won in the year. I do want to correct. Some people say, well, they won everything or they completed football. Well, I mean, they didn't technically win everything because they didn't win the Carabao Cup. And they also didn't win the Community Shield. They didn't win everything that was there. So, they're sort of picking and choosing how they want to label it. But I agree. I mean, I'm a little disappointed that when I got to see, the 4 trophies that, I missed the 5th one because I needed all 5 in my trophy picture. So with that, I liked how, even though the competition level was different, I like how Fluminense played really, really similar to City. They had City running in circles. I love that somebody did that to them. I mean, they had a highlight, I think it's the one on there where they had City they playing from the back, running in circles. And, the appropriate response was City put 4 on them because they did. And it was tight early for some unknown reason. And then when it got open, it got open. And, obviously Jack Grealish got under some people's skin, and there was a little bit of tussling and jersey pulling and even talking trash on the way to go pick up a trophy. But, they won. They won everything. So as a club, City has won everything available. So, it is what it is. I'm happy, as a supporter to get to see like all of the things that they've accomplished. I'm proud of the accomplishment for the year. And I won't let my opinion of what I saw in the game today affect that. Right? I'll be appreciative of them winning.
I mean, hey, no matter the competition, you can only beat what's in front of you, right? And I thought it was a very Brazilian performance from Fluminense. Kind of lots of individuals, lots of speed. A lot of them had a lot of good foot skills. A lot of them had new microphones, and but I thought City just did what they do. They fill the team out, and were able to do what champions do: win the game in the end comfortably.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm happy about the result. I'm glad that I got to see it. It's one of the things where, I mean, even though I'm being honest, I know Patrick has been able to see his team win the Champions League, and and obviously he's seen them win the league and stuff. And so while I don't necessarily want you to feel it at my personal expense, Jake, I mean, it would be cool for you to to get those experiences, not because it's a better than or anything. It's a feeling where you want to have that feeling for your team. You love to see people happy and celebrate the victories of their team. So if Arsenal can win something this year, I'm be honest, I'd be I'd be good. I'd be happy for you personally. I mean, I don't know where my team would fall in that, but I'm human enough to understand the appreciation of it's a good feeling.
Well, let's be real. If Arsenal wins something this season, it will be at your expense in at least one of the competitions. You would have to think.
Maybe not directly. I'm talking about like directly, like where if you have to play head to head, because it is what it is. Because then I won't root. Obviously, I'm not going to root for you at that point, right?
Obviously, yes, but I think it's going to take a whole bunch for Arsenal to get a shot at that Club World Cup. I'll tell you that much. Am I confident? Sure. Do I think 100% Arsenal are going to win the Champions League? Not even at all. But I wouldn't mind seeing you guys. Gotta be the best. Gotta beat the best to be the best. As they say. And so, yeah. Patrick, let me ask you, man. What did it feel like when Chelsea won the Club World Cup? Was it like a huge deal? Obviously you're happy that you've lifted the cup.
It wasn't as big of a deal as winning the Champions League, in my opinion, just because of the type of competition that you face, the grueling nature of the Champions League group stage, knockouts, final. Um, it was cool winning the Club World Cup because it made you think like, okay, this team accomplished something that even a Champions League team prior couldn't accomplish. And it was cool, but winning the Champions League was more, at least for me. I don't know how Lewis feels, but I'm sure Lewis actually probably agrees with me, because it was kind of like one of those things to where it's like, well, you haven't done this. Well, you haven't done this. Well, you haven't done this. And you finally do it. And, then the Super Cup, I think that's what it's called. And then the Club World Cup. It all kind of seems secondary compared to the Champions League. And I guess it's because, you can't get to those opportunities unless you win the Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely.
A thing I want to add to that, I agree. There's like a degree to it. I think that the reason the Club World Cup, I guess, for City was a big deal this year is because, like, it's historic in the sense of this is their first time doing everything, and they did everything at the same time in the same season. So I think it was a big deal for the club for that reason. If this was like, say, City win the Champions League this year and they play it and they win it next year, it's not the same thing because, well, first of all, the competition has changed. I don't know if it's for this year or the next year, but I know the competition will change. But in addition to that, like this tournament came in the midst of City having like a really rough patch, and they still had to play like multiple games. So then there's the whole you're breaking your season and what it is to do it. So I just think it's something where now they can just go forward. And the whole comments about City having no history, all those are dead. Because even a person could say 115 charges, yeah, and 5 trophies. Just with that, there's nothing else to say. It's been a really successful period. And so I agree that it's not the biggest deal in the world, but if City didn't win it, then what happens, right? You would literally not hear the end of it.
Ever. Then it'd be a big deal.
Then you wouldn't hear the end of it ever. So they had to win it this time. Like, you can't not win it the first time. Now, if they play again and it's something different and they don't win it next year from the new setup or whatever, it is what it is at that point, right?
Yeah, well, fair enough.
When Chelsea made it the first time, we lost to I think we lost to somebody from Brazil the first time around. And one, I didn't get up to watch it because it was in Japan. But it just seemed like at the time Chelsea didn't really take it serious, which it felt like that whole season after the Champions League. Chelsea took nothing serious until the Europa Cup run. Or Europa League, sorry. But the second time around, it felt like Chelsea took it serious. It was like, okay, we got to win this time. And, you go back and you look at some of the teams that have won the Club World Cup and have done trebles along the way or doubles or whatever it might be. You look at some of the Barcelona teams that have won it, and you look at what they won in the process, and it's like, okay, you're kind of in that rarefied air. The names are are big when you win a Club World Cup. And so, I mean, it's cool to have. You get to wear the gold emblem now on the chest for the rest of the season, which is kind of cool too. But congrats to City. I when I saw the teams, I figured as long as they played at B game or better, they would take care of business, and that's what they did. And speaking of City, I was reminded today watching them that one, Holland's out, but Doku's coming back soon, and De Bruyne, and it's like, oh man, I totally forgot about Doku being out too, because I thought, oh well, it's just De Bruyne, which I mean, De Bruyne is a huge deal, anyways. But man, I don't like seeing them on the schedule anytime soon.
Yeah, well, that's actually a great segue, because in that first half today, I watched like 20 minutes of the first half, the first 20 minutes of the game during the halftime of Chelsea's game, and I mean, no Haaland, no Doku, no De Bruyne. Foden definitely stepped up today.
Whew, he was great.
Foden was fantastic in that second half. He wasn't bad in the first half either. Definitely stepped up today. But I even said to myself, definitely looks like something's missing. What do you think, Lewis?
Oh, now if we're talking about today, then my are very different. I have very few complimentary things to say about what I saw today. Okay, so Everton was in a good run, so that's good. It's an away game, so there's some spirit behind that. City started the game off well, but my biggest issue was that they're making a lot of errors, but and the errors that are happening, it's not because it's not how they play. Like if you watch, it looks like they're just being lazy. Like some of the passes don't have nothing on it. And you're just looking and you're like, well, and then there's simple things where they're not sensing the danger, or they're overconfident. So the goal that got scored was basically because they just didn't clear the ball. Like if you clear the ball, that goal doesn't happen. And so I look, and there was a lot of falling down, and you've seen that a lot of times this season. And so you're like, is that the pitch? Because a lot of the errors that you also see is they're losing their footing. And I'm like, is every pitch that bad where they're falling? Does the boot man need to get on it or something? Because I'm not understanding why everyone keeps falling down. And I was watching, because I like to watch sometimes just to see how off I am or spot on I am, if I want to dig in. The point about Kyle Walker, I'm not knocking him, because obviously he's a defender. I'm gonna put it like that. He's a defender, but going forward, he offers absolutely nothing. Nothing. That whole side of the field is empty. Here's why it bothers me and it troubles me. So he offers nothing going forward, and Bernardo plays in front of him. But if you play the ball to the other side, because they mostly play through the left, when you play it through Grealish holds the ball. So now you got on the attacking side of the left, you're just holding the ball, and on the defending side, pushing the ball forward, you offer nothing. So everything literally has to come from the middle of the park. And when people clog the middle, what are you supposed to do? And so this is where Doku is so dynamic, and him being missing matters. But it also shows they stuck Foden in the middle of the field, and clearly that's where he's supposed to be. And he did what he needed to do, but it's just weird, because there needs to be competition for the right back position. Not because Walker is not good, because his pace and his style of play allows him to play the high line, because he can recover. But because you have to have something else, you have to be able to offer something there, right? Because now teams can just easily defend and say, okay, well, they're going to come down the left side. And if Grealish is playing, okay, well, we'll just wait, because he's going to hold the ball up, and then we can just clog everything. And then they become absolutely predictable. And then you have to have somebody like De Bruyne or Foden do some miracle in the middle of the field for them to do something, because then if they do get spots in the middle, then they don't shoot the ball. Then they want the perfect shot at the perfect angle to put it in there. So then not only are you predictable on your wings, then you literally need individual brilliance to get goals. What? And so then in addition to needing the individual brilliance, you got people who, and I'm not knocking Rodri, where he made several errors, and then you see Akanji make errors where they're lazy on the ball, and they're in the middle of the park. So if your wings are not dynamic, and then in the middle of the park you're making errors, where are you good? So literally, City, from what I've seen playing all season, they literally play in 10-minute spurts where they're dynamic for 10 minutes, and then they turn off. And if you're gonna run a campaign like that, then I mean, I don't know what results you expect to have, but you better hope that the teams that you're playing don't like massacre you when you make your mistakes. So yeah,
Yeah,
I don't have a ton positive to say about that.
I mean, yeah, I didn't think City were definitely at their. I didn't think they were at their best at all. From what I saw, I did watch the last 40 minutes of the game as well after Chelsea was over, and I mean, the Onana penalty is clear. That's a clear penalty. And
can I get a point on that real quick so I can just?
Yeah, of course.
So I watched several people and pundits who are like, well, I don't know what they're gonna do. First of all, they've called that penalty across the board almost all season, so I don't understand what the debate is. First, second of all, almost every defender for the last 5 seasons, when they dive in and when they slide in, they always slide in with their hands behind them. Always. So this brand new of I don't know why they call it a penalty is garbage. The second thing is, and so because they showed the replay so many times, so I watched him go in when Ake turned and just hit it, because that's what he was shooting for, somebody to put their arm up. That's what he's shooting for. The second defender was right behind him, did the same slide, and his hands are down. So the argument of natural position is thrown out because the guy, your teammate did the same thing and didn't throw his arms up. So what are you saying? And the thing about it is, and I know people were like, well, they surrounded the referee, but when they went, the referee immediately looked at his assistant, and he called the pen because he could see it. It was a penalty. Period. There's no debating that. So that's my only point.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, he's literally twisted his body, and it wasn't the nearest side arm. It was his far arm.
It was a far arm.
And he's done this and blocked a shot on goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how much clearer clear can get.
Well, and I mean, I said that's a pin. I think I said that, or that's a clear handball or something like that. And then they were on the broadcast talking about like, well, VAR may overturn it because, natural position and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, since when is your arm naturally up here when you're sliding? You usually are going down like this. And I think it's an example of just how bad VAR has been, and the refereeing in the league has been, that you've got pundits saying, well, I don't know, that may be not a handball. It's a handball clear as day. I mean, it's almost Thomas Suchek bad,
Well, the funny thing is that and I mean, memes are memes. When people try to say, well, the Odegaard one wasn't called, but I'm like, that's completely different because he was falling down that.
Yeah, and that was a mistake. And right. It was wrong. You can't bring up evidence that is wrong.
That's what I'm saying. It's stupid.
They got that one wrong.
Yes.
And you're saying, hey, they didn't call the Odegaard one. Yeah, mistakenly.
Well, man, dribbled the ball.
Wait a minute, what? So, and we'll get to that. I will give my, I did a match reaction in the car, but I will talk about that when we get to Arsenal. But yeah, it's especially this season. You can argue, it's not a natural position or it is a natural position all day long. But this season, to the referees, that is not a natural position. You're getting called.
Yep.
Period. And here's another thing. I've lost all faith in anything any pundit, any commentator says, because if you really listen to the things they say, it's like they're not watching the same game.
Dude.
And then when you go to the studio, it's almost like Tim Howard has been given lines to say because they don't trust him to actually say good things. So they tell him to take this position or that position. That's why they always go to him. Let's get him out of the way because he doesn't mess it up. Let's get him through his bit. You just read off the card. And they're always holding paper. He's always reading off the card. But half the things these pundits are saying, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to mute you. And I'm going to watch myself. because when he started questioning, and the same, they started questioning a decision in the Chelsea game. They were questioning whether the Madueke one was a penalty
What, from today's game?
from the Chelsea game
Today?
There's
no way to that. What?
Yeah, the commentators on Peacock were like, "Yeah, well, I don't know. They may turn this one around. It doesn't look like what?" Yeah, I was shocked. I'm shocked at some of the things the comment. Maybe what they said at the beginning of the Chelsea game, where it's like, "I hope we're on point today because there's so much festive fixtures. We're getting very." I kind of shook my head a little bit, but maybe it's true. Maybe the commentators are getting a little tired.
Yeah. Well, that was like a penalty. There was no
question. Oh, that was straight up. Yeah.
My issue with that is it took 5 minutes for them to figure out that it was a penalty.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And we'll get to that.
They almost allowed Palace to get. I mean, they did allow Palace to get a 4-on-1 on us.
Oh yeah, because he didn't call it a victory.
That's why they let him play on. Yeah,
there's one person back at that.
That was ridiculous, and I will speak on in it when we get to Chelsea. I'll speak on how bad Palace are, but I thought that in the end, City just too much for Everton. I mean, y'all did waste a lot of chances. Mm-hmm. Like you can tell you're missing Haaland's.
Like 19 shots, 19.
Yeah, according to ESPN, you have 23 and only 9 on target. Credit Phil Foden. I thought fantastic finish. Absolutely dirty.
But
and then
he
when
didn't even celebrate, he was pissed. You could see he was pissed. They played terribly.
It's like, why are we losing this game? Absolutely. And then Bernardo's goal, like, again, the commentators are like, "Oh my God! Oh, what a crazy, awesome goal!" And I'm sitting here going, "It's Bernardo, duh."
Why wouldn't he do that?
You're gonna let Pickford give Bernardo an open net, and he's not just gonna dunk it in. I was like, as soon as the ball fell to him, I'm like, "Oh, that's in." Mm-hmm. They've just given the game away. and then because it was like a chip and dude jumps for it, it kind of looks like it wasn't close. He dunked it straight up dunked it.
Yeah, he landed it perfectly.
It would have been more disappointing if he missed it
in the back of the net when it came off.
Landed.
It would have
exactly. It would have been crazier if he it would have been crazier for sure if he hadn't put that in for sure. But I think that's a great return to the Premier League for the Citizens. And you've got another just absolutely really, really tough one. No, it's not. Saturday.
The next 5 they should get all 15.
Yeah, the Sheffield Blades, the new manager bounce, Chris Wilder, coming to town, coming to the Empty Hat on Saturday.
He's gonna get bounced, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I went conservative because it's going to be Leicester City settings, low block FC, and I went 3-0 to City. Is Haaland going to be back? That's the question. Is Haaland?
They need him back.
Okay? No, they said he's not going to play. He probably won't play again until January. Doku, if he is, he's just on the subs bench. But I think they said Haaland for sure is not going to play again until January because being honest, there's no point, right? They said Doku might not be back, but he might be on the bench, and De Bruyne definitely is not playing until January. Now, Stones got hurt today, and I actually saw the injury, and it looks like he turned his ankle when he stepped in, even though, and I kind of got the complaint Pep had because you could see it was offsides when the play happened, but they let it play on, and Pep was complaining of like, why didn't you raise your flag? But that's the rule that they have to play by, and he doesn't get hurt if he just calls the offsides right there. And so they're talking about they need to address that too, because if you can see it, I understand to let VAR do it and it's off. Like, what are you doing? So
there needs to be. I agree. There needs to be a balance so that exactly what happened to Stones doesn't happen. I'm sure that's not the first time somebody's taken a little knock or a little bump, some kind of something. Little hip issue, something, elbow in the back or something on a play that was offsides and meant nothing, and that's kept them out of the next game. And it doesn't necessarily matter because you should still smash Sheffield with your eyes closed. But say you were playing pool next.
That'd be an issue. Yeah.
Say you had the Arsenal were coming to town next.
But even then, they said he left the stadium in a walking boot because I guess people didn't really see. I saw in when they slowed it down, he saw how his ankle turned, so he's in a walking boot, which means that allowing that play to go, even though the linesman knew it was offsides. What if he's out for a month now?
That's massive. Yeah, that's
over
big.
that, right? That's silly.
That's very silly. That's so dumb. But if it's no Stones, no Doku, no Holland, yeah, still 3-0. Phil Foden show. Alvarez will have one.
I will also go 3-0. That's what I was thinking as well. Yeah. I don't see. I mean, they make mistakes, but I don't think to Sheffield we're going to have that issue. Sheffield's terrible.
No, I think Sheffield's only real hope is winning second balls. And I mean, is Diaz going to be back? Wasn't he out today as well?
Yeah, he'll be back. Diaz will.
Yeah, so Diaz is going to battle with McBurney for the first ball, and then Rodri's going to mop up.
Yep.
That's just kind of how I see it when Sheffield have the ball. Is just.
You know what? I'm going 4-0 to be different than you. How's that?
I was about to say 4-0. Just because y'all scored 3 on Everton and Everton's.
Well, then I'm going to go 2-0 because Patrick went 4. Just to make all this.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like X says this has 0-0 all on it, right?
No way.
0-0
yeah, right.
There's
Chelsea
no
scored
way.
2 on them. Come on now.
Yeah, Arsenal scored 5, so I think you're going to be just fine. So anything to add, Patrick? Sheffield have any hope?
No. I mean, the game's not played on paper. We'll say that, but no. I mean, it was shocking that they got a draw on Friday against Villa, but then they gave up 3 to Luton, and I mean that kind of scares me a little bit. But
Luton is good now.
They're going to get blitzed. They're going to get blitzed.
You're
talking about City coming home to celebrate the Club World Cup. You know, they're slowly getting healthy. You know, this is a chance for them to, we're going to be back into the title race, because I was looking today and they're now at 37. So with a game in hand, so they can catch up to Villa with a win, which they should get. Villa might get a win too, though. It looks like they play Burnley, but it's still a game in hand. So they'll chase down Villa. And then at that point, they're probably 3 points behind y'all. And 2 points behind Liverpool. So they're going to get healthy, and it's time to start the run. We know it. We all know it. And it's funny because all the freaking pundits have been pointing it out too. They're like, we know it's coming. We know it's coming. And it's like,
I'm hoping they're creating like a false reverse psychology kind of thing where everybody's like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. The 15-game run, and then it doesn't ever materialize.
But they've won. They've done the run every year for like the last.
You watch your mouth.
Just saying.
You watch your mouth. I can dream. I can hope.
The only thing that stopped the run was COVID. That was it. And Liverpool were on fire that year.
I can hope, sir. Don't douse my fire. It's only Christmas. It's only Christmas. Let me hope. Arsenal were top at Christmas. Come on. Oh my God. I did want to mention something. I'm glad you brought up the Luton Sheffield game. I did want to mention something about that game. It was a great game, by the way. Back and forth. Luton were up, then Sheffield were up, then Luton came back again. But what I did want to mention was there was a new referee.
Yeah,
that I'd never seen before. No. It was a black gentleman with a great shiny head. But I thought he was fantastic. Like, especially with how poor the standard is. I thought that he was. You didn't have. I don't even know his name because they didn't have
Samuel Allison. That's the who looks like the referee.
Maybe
That's
I don't even know because they didn't have to call him out. He didn't have to make any contentious decisions. He was
he was invisible like referees should be, huh?
exactly. He controlled the game. There wasn't a lot of controversy, and it was a 3-2 game. There were lots of back and forth goals. It was heated, but he kept the lid on it. No one. There wasn't a situation where if he would have done this or that, it wouldn't have gotten out of hand. No, he kept it lid on everything. And as much as I hate referees, I want to call it out when they do good. And so I thought that in that match, and I hope he sticks around. We need new blood. We need people.
Mm-hmm.
We need someone who comes in who actually knows what they're doing. So if I see him tomorrow for the Arsenal West Ham game, I'll be just fine with that. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. Absolutely.
And it's Samuel Allison.
Samuel Allison. Excellent. I look forward to seeing him again, so that hopefully we don't get to call him out and he remains invisible. But we want to see him on the pitch, but be invisible. But we also want to see it. But yeah, it makes sense if you don't think about it.
Exactly.
Tons of sense.
Speaking of things that don't make sense or do, or don't, and you don't really want to think about them, but maybe you do today at least, Patrick. You've beaten Palace, but before we
talk about Wolves first. No.
Before we get there, the Wolves game. What happened? What happened?
For the Wolves game?
In the Wolves game. In the Chelsea Wolves game.
Raheem Sterling screwed us. I showed that picture to my wife because she wasn't watching. And I said, look at this picture. And she's like, okay. I said, that's a goalkeeper, right? She's like, yeah. And there's 3 Chelsea players. I said, do you realize we didn't score there? She's like, what? I was like, yeah, Raheem Sterling decided to be selfish and take it on his own. And the best part about it was after the game, because of course we lost 2-1. But hey, Nkunku got a goal. First Premier League game, got a goal. So, woo. But after the game, the discussion was, did Sterling not pass because he does not trust his teammates?
What?
That is terrible. There's no way. Is that true? Do you think that's true? Do you think it's true?
I just think he's selfish. I really do. And I think as you watch him, and I'll get to the Palace game because I kind of pointed this out in our chat. I don't think he fits. I just don't. I understand why he plays. I do. But he doesn't fit. He will play hard for a couple games, and then he'll take off 5. And, his playing hard could mean that we win, but when he coasts, we don't have a chance because it's a black hole on the field. I mean, it really, really is. He doesn't press that hard, and that's very, very frustrating. And, when you blow an attempt like that, things get scrutinized. And I personally was glad that he was not playing today because I thought that, we're going to actually be able to press. And I pointed it out in the chat with y'all for today. But being able to press on the right side helped us tremendously in the first half. It allowed Nkunku to sit back. It allowed them to – it allowed Madison to get up further up. And I have issues with that too. But
kind of forced. That was kind of forced, though. With your suspension, I'm saying Matson's start was kind of forced. No James, no Chilwell, suspensions.
Not so much, and I'll tell you why. All right, Madison is a left back. He's always been a left back.
That's fair.
Pochettino has played him as an attacker, which cool. If we didn't already have Mudryk or Sterling or Madueke, or I'm sure I'm thinking of somebody who, probably not thinking of people because they've been injured. But if we didn't have those players, I would understand it. And when he did it in the summer, I was like, because he's going to put someone else there once we're healthy kind of thing. And then to see him continue to put him out there as an attacker doesn't make sense, especially when we continue to have issues at left back. Whatever you want to say about Gusto, first off, I didn't know he was 20. I thought he was 22. He's 20 years old. He looked incredible today.
He had a good
played
game
on the right, and then he played on the left. And he had an assist for a goal. I mean, he got man of the match, and he should have. He was fantastic. When we bought him, I was excited about it because I'm like, okay, if Reese stays injured, at least we have a true replacement for him. Maybe not on offense, but defensively. And that's all I care about, honestly. If my backs can play defense, great. If you score along the way, fantastic. That's just, whipped cream on top of a sundae, But no, Wolves game. So we looked terrible. And I really think that if we had scored that goal, because we would have gone up 1-0, and then I think 5-6 minutes later they scored.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like it snowballs. Not to the point to where it was like an avalanche of goals, but it creates that doubt in your head, like, here we go again. Here we go again. And we gave up a second goal, and we were so, and I keep saying this, and I see it consistently. And then you see we throw out a team of that's 23 years old and 23 years and 44 days years old today. And you're like, well, yeah, that's why we're immature, because without Thiago Silva, our average age is less than 24. But we play we play without any type of calmness, confidence, anything of the sort on the road. And it's frustrating. And that's why I'm concerned about Luton, because they'll be composed. That of course, we're going to go to that bandbox of a stadium. Luckily, it's during the day than at night, because that place goes to another level at night.
It's a lunchtime kickoff in England, and I personally don't understand the fear of a lunchtime kickoff. But apparently in England, English fans think it's like a horrible thing to have to play at noon.
Oh, yeah. It's always funny when they come out with the fixtures, for the month that, we're going to put this game at this time.
And Klopp immediately is like, why have we played at noon 17 times?
Well, to be fair, here in the States, as a college football fan, I don't want Clemson playing at noon. I'd rather than play at 3:30 or 7 or 8 o'clock.
Is it for you, or is that for you because for your viewership, or because it's bad for the team to have to play early?
Well, one, for viewership, but two, if it's a home game specifically, the atmosphere is totally different. During the day, it's kind of dead, if it's a home game. Now, if we're on the road, I want to play at noon. Let's kick off at 11:30 if we can.
And then you can get home.
Then you get home, and
is that the same for Chelsea fans? Like, is a noon kickoff at the Bridge gonna be? I mean, are you gonna be up for it if you're at Luton?
I think there's a better chance of it. I think that just in general, and take what you say about home field advantage, this, that, and the other. But I do think that fans approach games differently based on start times. Some of the best atmosphere for Chelsea have been night games. Yeah. Some of the worst have been during the day, at noon or 2 o'clock or whatever it might be. They've been horrible. You could hear a pin drop in the stadium. But night games, it gets loud. People are into it. So, that's why I saw what time we were playing Luton. I'm like, okay, maybe we won't get too crazy going into that one. And when we beat Burnley on the road, that was a day game. And we looked I mean, we gave up a goal early, but then we looked good after. You know, but that's Burnley. They play a different type of style than Luton does. But yeah, I mean, you saw it tonight or this afternoon for us tonight over there. Chelsea played better. They for the most part, they had pretty good control of the game. There were moments where they would shut off and it was frustrating as all get out. But I think the biggest thing that I took from it, though, was we still have problems with yellow cards, and especially our manager.
Poch is just frustrated, man. Like from the rip, you could tell. Like the first time he threw his hands up and went and sat down like this.
Yeah.
You could tell he's just, I even said to Lauren, I was like, it's got to be one of the most frustrating gigs in the Premier League as Chelsea manager. And that's my commentary on today's game, to be honest with you. From the fans' point of view, I feel sorry for you guys because how frustrating it must be to watch that. Because in that first half, it was the most typical Chelsea performance I think I've seen, because you struggle when you have the ball and Palace get into their shape. You struggle to break down their block. It was a right battle in that midfield. I was shocked that Chelsea didn't dominate the midfield. And I thought that when there was space, when you were able to counter on Palace and there was, space on the break, I thought that's when you looked your most effective. When Jackson would do a layoff, he was trying perhaps one too many back heels, but
just like you. I think he did 5 in the first half.
Yeah. But in moments where, for example, the turn from Gusto's delicious.
Beautiful.
And I thought that overall, even though, yes, not having Sterling in and having Maatsen and the Gusto combo on the right allows for more press and allows Nkunku to stay central, I thought that he didn't help out the defense enough. I thought that he didn't come back to receive the progressive pass enough. And so a typical problem that Chelsea have, I felt there was way too much space in front of Caicedo and Gallagher. And no one was. That's why Jackson was coming back so much. You saw him coming back because there was a lot of space there. And I think, and I don't know if it was a directive from Pochettino or if it was just the way Nkunku likes to play, but maybe he's learning. Maybe they'll get better. He'll get better at that pure number 10 role because that's kind of how he set it up.
Yep.
Was for Nkunku to be the creator, but I just think he struggled a little bit. And when y'all switched it up with the substitutions, I don't think anybody realized that when he made that switch, he switched the point of attack. And you were supposed to be attacking from the opposite side of the field more often. You were supposed to be with because he made the switch from having Gusto and Maatsen on the right to it was an odd switch, but it switched the back line, right? He takes Colwell off and moves Gusto to the left to kind of go up and down on the left-hand side. But the players didn't really seem to get it. So they were still trying to go down the other side. There was like a miscommunication there. And after y'all didn't do anything after the subs.
No. And that's a frustrating thing. And I'm not so sure he's a good in-game manager. I praise Klopp for his in-game management. I praise Pep for it, Arteta as well. it seems like that he just changes things up to change it up, and there's like no actual thought behind it.
Well, the
Because-
commentator said he thought it was responding to what Palace were having success with. But he leaves out the fact that you still have to attack when he switches to defend against what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I understand wanting to get somebody over on Elise. I get it. I want the same thing. But it just like I don't like seeing DCC making runs forward. I just don't. But he has to as a right back, and then again that's where I get so like, what are you thinking, Pochettino? Because he could have gone 3-5-2. He didn't do that. He went 4 at the back. He could have said, okay, we're going to change the pairing in the center in the defense to Silva and Badiashile because they seem to play pretty well together. But we're going to keep Gusto here and move Maatsen back and have him play more of a defensive role. He would be good on the overlap if we were to attack. And it just, I don't know. It's troubling that I saw this stat after the game. Romeo Lavia, he played 32 minutes. He had 7 key passes, the most for Chelsea in the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay,
And he was the 6, and he came in to be the defensive center mid.
Yeah.
I mean, he essentially comes in and does the job Caicedo should be doing.
Yeah. I think the thing about Caicedo is I think they're asking too much of him defensively. And so as a result, he's more focused on the defensive side, and he can't roam and play the way he did at Brighton because they're asking too much defensively of him. He's having to cover for too many people. And as a result, he gets too far back and, he gets crowded and gets the ball knocked off of him a lot more than he should. And that's where they've got to I don't want us to sell Gallagher. I don't. But if it allowed us to play Lavia, Enzo, and Caicedo, I wouldn't be 100% against it.
That was the plan, right?
That's the plan. And
that was the plan.
Like that's where we can be our most successful in the midfield with that 3 pairing. But I don't want to get rid of Gallagher because he does push, he attacks all game long, even though he did have a spell there where he just disappeared completely. Like, I thought he had actually been taken off.
Was it after the subs? I think because
it was after the subs. He disappeared, and then at one point he was in the attack.
It's because his position changed so much. It's because his position changed so much. Normally, especially in that double pivot, he's the progressor. He's the one getting the ball and go. You saw immediately after the subs, he came way deep, like immediately again. And Lavia must have said something to him because he didn't do it again. And Lavia was the one progressing the ball, getting his 7 key passes in, And so I think that same thing I was saying about when Poch kind of switched it all up, there was like a lack of communication. They're still trying to figure it out. Oh, yeah. They're still trying to gel. I think they kind of got his system, kind of see what he wants to do, but it definitely felt like he should have sent somebody on with a little note. You know how sometimes they'll write a note and be like, look, we're switching it all up, and they pass that note around to everybody on the team.
Yeah. It was frustrating because as good as we looked in the first half, sans the goal, of course, we looked totally hapless in the second half. We looked clueless. And I even said, I don't see how we score a goal.
Yeah. Palace are bad, man. Against a better team, y'all would have been ripped apart.
Yeah.
Palace
aren't good.
They're so bad.
And I feel bad for Elise because he's such quality, but they pretty much forced him into that contract this summer. And So he's now stuck there for probably at least another year.
Bad for Elise. I feel bad for the defenders because
Yeah.
they've defended resolutely all game. And then there was a bit of fortune about Chelsea's first goal. Take nothing away from Gusto's run and his assist,
Yeah.
but there was a couple of fortunate touches in that first one. And so they defended well all game. They've given up one goal, and then Eze. Not even it wasn't even like Anderson or Gahey or Mitchell.
Get out.
It was their forward. It was the guy that's supposed to be doing work at the other end. Clear pen, clear as day. There's no arguing. I don't know what the commentators are smoking because there's no arguing with that. He's cleaned him out. You can see how straight Madueke's leg gets.
Yeah.
It's bent the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly.
Clear pen.
But no, I just I'm glad we got the win. It was great for Madueke because that's another thing on the Chelsea Twitter that supposedly Pochettino doesn't like Madueke and wants to get rid of him because he doesn't fit. And I was so glad to see him score. And honestly, without the goal, he played well. He had some take-ons. He was very active once they actually okay, well, let's play, some 1-2s with him. Because there at the end, it was hoof the ball up to Broja and see if he can run under it and, get a chance. And, he's rumored to be going out on loan if we can get a striker. And again, I wouldn't be totally against it.
Yeah, Jackson needs a stint in League One, in the championship.
See, I don't think they're going to do that because they want to continue to develop him.
Yeah, I would find him if I'm the coach. If I'm Pochettino,
that miss was so bad.
£50,000 you're getting fined for that miss. Are you kidding me?
It's that much.
I don't care how much he makes. That's a massive. You're running laps all next practice. You're running the stadium.
Then he hits that goal that he's offside, and it's like, how do you do that?
You're running this. You're doing a stadium run. I forget what the word is. There's a name for it when you run the entire steps of the stadium. That's what you're doing.
Stadiums.
Yeah, you're doing the whole of Stamford Bridge, buddy, because that is atrocious. What's he doing? What is he doing? Like at some point, you're just not holding up your end of the contract that you signed. That is a horrific miss. That's something I would do. You put me in a Chelsea shirt and I can miss that bad.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's
He's on
crazy.
65, by the way. Yeah, I know. I mean, I think there's a confidence that he has playing with Nkunku compared to playing with anybody else. I mean, you saw it in the first half. He's playing flicks. He's running free. He feels like he can play his role. And then the second half comes, they take off Nkunku, and it's just like, okay, what do I do now? What am I supposed to do? And Poach has got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And again, I think he set us up well. I just don't like how he's an in-game tactician, and I don't think that that's just anything new. I think that that's been his issue for a while now. But again, you take 3 points, however you get them, and you move on. And we got Luton, and I said that I will wear t-shirts until we went 12, which we're not going to do. So it'll be at least till the break that I wear t-shirts for games. But I think we can find a way to win at Luton. I think we can actually score against them, as crazy as that sounds. I actually think they may come at us a little bit because they did at the bridge. They didn't sit back. They came right at us. That's why we got 5 on them. But I think we win 3-1.
Hey,
3-1.
Who's Bournemouth's game in hand? Because I was going to say that Chelsea is solidly intense, but then I see Bournemouth is at 25 points as well, but they have a game in hand on you. But they played already. So who was their game in hand?
Hold on.
They play Spurs tomorrow.
They have Luton. Remember, they couldn't play Luton at the beginning of the year because, well, no,
Yeah.
that's not it.
No, that is right. That's right. That's right.
Well, no, they're playing them at the Vitality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out.
Well, they play tomorrow. They haven't played this match week.
Okay.
But
That's what it is, Lewis.
Well,
they're not 2 games back. They're only 1 game back.
Yeah, they're 1 game back. So they
play tomorrow.
They could jump us and Brighton, technically.
Are you sure?
They play Spurs tomorrow. I'm looking at it.
Brighton plays Spurs tomorrow.
Who do Bournemouth play then?
I'm looking at the schedule.
Spurs the following week.
Yeah, Brighton plays Spurs tomorrow.
So who?
And Arsenal plays West Ham. Those are the 2 games tomorrow. Because they have a game. Was it City?
So it has to be. It has to know Brentford. Brentford was the game that City missed.
Oh.
It has to be the first Luton game. It has to be the first Luton game. That's the return fixture. The very first game of the season was supposed to be Luton at home, and they just didn't. And they didn't play. Brentford is missing the game versus City.
Right.
Bournemouth was supposed to play away to Luton first day, and that game was postponed. It will be replayed at some point because it has to be. That's the only reason they've got a game in hand.
But according to what's on PremierLeague.com, their game in hand is against Luton, but it's at the Vitality, not at Kenilworth Road.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they don't play at Kenilworth Road until April 6th. What? So they have 2 games with Luton still.
Right.
Yes. Then that's the game then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I think what you're saying, Patrick, is that their next game against Luton was their scheduled fixture. That's the game that it was supposed to be, and the game that's later will be the makeup game.
Yes.
Right.
So they'll have a game in hand till April 6th.
Well, Bournemouth haven't scheduled the
Bournemouth and Luton.
The Bournemouth Luton game.
They haven't rescheduled it?
No, April 6th is at Kenilworth Road. It says right here, to be confirmed, Bournemouth Luton Vitality Stadium.
They don't. You know what? They don't know. I'm confused. You're confused. They don't. They're confused. They don't know what they're doing. That's clear. That's clear and obvious. But what do you think about the Blues? The old Chelsea Blues, Lewis. What do you say?
Well, I got to watch some of it because I was frustrated at City. Because I mean, it's fun. I saw then later I watched the recap that they said they were the youngest team out there, which is crazy because I can understand the Pochettino frustration of looking at these young guys and you're like, come on, man, like just come on. And so, it's a weird thing you mentioned that the whole time before Nkunku came back, the big thing that, Chelsea supporters were looking at is about Nkunku and Jackson getting together because of the chemistry they had early. But Jackson looked bad. And so the issue is Nkunku never lost the form, so to speak. But Jackson's confidence is shaking compared to when they played together. So I think that's something that's going to have to build over time for them to get there. It was good to see Mudryk score. I mean, they actually could have passed it to Hübner before that, but they didn't. But I'm glad he still got the goal. I mean, he's another one who really needs confidence. I mean, in general, I root for guys to play their very best. So it's good to see that. On the Wolves game, I don't know what happened there, man. I was watching that and I'm like, dude, what is this? It was awful, man. It was really, really bad. And so, I'm rooting for Chelsea that they're solidly in 10th place and that they'll have some ascendancy come the new year. I am curious about what they're going to do in the window because they've already spent the $1 and clearly they're going to spend a $1 again somewhere since they want to they're not clearly not going to get rid of those guys on the value that they bought them. So I mean, that depreciation is going to be heavy on those things. But I mean, they're two behind Brighton. Brighton is not great, and Newcastle looks rough, and they're four back of them. So I mean, the two teams in front of Chelsea, Brighton, and Newcastle, and some in a pretty serious dip. So Chelsea could work their way up to Europe. I mean, they could.
Well, I mean, if you look at the table, they're 6 points behind United in sixth. 6 points.
Yeah, let's not get too excited. Let's
is
not
that the
get
standard?
too
Is that
excited.
the standard
I'm
we're
saying
going with?
that the gap is not like insurmountable by any means. I'm not talking about top four, not even close, because I think that there's going to be a clear gap between fourth and sixth this year. So I think that if we get top 8, I'll be happy. I mean, I will. You never know.
Maybe. What you think about the Luton game, Lewis?
For Chelsea?
For Chelsea.
Hold on, I gotta look because I'm trying to see. I always stare at stats before that.
Yeah.
And, they're going there.
Yeah, man. Luton gave City a game. They drew Liverpool. They gave Spurs a game. They gave Arsenal a game at Kenilworth Road. They've just beaten Sheffield away at Bramall Lane. That was a good victory. Had to hang in there. Really had to suffer. Suffer through that one and managed to pull it out in the end. Chelsea haven't been at their best past couple of games. That's why I've gone 2-2. Sorry about you, Patrick.
It's a smart pick.
I hate to do this, man. Just looking at where Luton is, I think it's going to be a 3-2 Luton. I think Luton's going to win. I mean, I picked Luton in the last game too, though.
Yeah, you did.
But I was wrong. I think Patrick got the score right. I think I picked Luton 1-0. Is that something like that?
No. No.
Yeah,
No one got the score right, but you got the result, but not the score. Yeah.
Yeah, I got 1-0 Luton over Newcastle.
He got the Luton Newcastle score. Yeah.
That one.
Shock. That was a shocking game. Newcastle were shocking.
On that one. I think I called a draw for that game.
Well, I have, according to my records, you called a draw in the Sheffield game. Sheffield Luton game.
Okay. I knew it was a draw for somewhere.
I think I called Luton to win like 2-1 in that one, if I remember right.
You did. That's what I have here. Yeah. Yep. But
yeah. I think Luton is at Chelsea. You don't know who's going to score, which means any random person's going to score. Luton, I don't even know how to predict them, so I'm going to go 3-2 Luton, since that was the result of their last game.
I will say this: if Petrovic isn't in goal, I would agree that we could give up 3.
Yeah, Luton at home, different animal. Absolutely are a different animal. Could be a long day, as they say, for the Chelsea Blues.
They're going to get on Sterling. They're going to, because Sterling will be back in the team, and they're going to be in his ear.
He shouldn't be.
I'm honestly interested to see what they do because, so Nkunku played on Wednesday. We play Saturday, so he should be fine. Lavia, they're kind of concerned that something may have happened to him today. They're gonna assess him, and I'm like, are you freaking serious right now? Like, you've got to be kidding, right? So we'll see about that. But I personally would rather see Mudryk, Nkunku, Palmer behind Jackson, or Jackson in front of them. I'd rather see that than see Sterling on the right.
Why not Mud Dog, Madueke, Palmer, Nkunku?
I mean, you could do that too.
Because Jackson's just fluffing every line possible.
I think you'd be a little bit more dynamic for sure. And I want Madueke to get more play for sure. He's more dynamic on the right. He looks to score. That's the one thing that we desperately need from the right side is somebody to look to score. And Palmer's been giving us that when he's played on the right. I don't know if he's going to sit Jackson. I just don't know. I don't know if he trusts Nkuku enough to keep to play him a full 90 up front, but I don't think he's going to want to take him off either. So I don't know. I don't know. I like your lineup. I'd rather go with that lineup, and I'm sure Colwell will play left back.
I'm just vindictive. So as a coach, if you miss that, and I'm the coach, one, you're hooked immediately. You're coming off the field immediately. And if your replacement does one thing good, you're benched. I'm just mean like that. So I would definitely bench Jackson, but I don't think Poch will. And I think we'll definitely see him at Luton at the weekend. Should be a decent game. Should be back and forth. Hopefully, Chelsea will get another win, be able to build a little bit of momentum. But speaking of wanting to build some momentum, Liverpool have taken the top of the table back from Arsenal, where we maintained it at Anfield with a 1-1 draw.
It was a good game.
I thought it was a good game. Somewhat disappointed with the result, but also feeling like we're a bit lucky to have escaped there with a point. I think for the very first time this season, I don't think we had any control in that game at all. Maybe a little bit more in the second half. I thought we were much improved and were better.
You were
better team.
You had control,
but after we scored,
it was all them
until the end of the half. We were completely up against it. We were getting bossed in the midfield. We were not winning the second balls. I was shocked that we were just getting run over in the midfield. We're not able to keep possession. We're not able to pin them in at all. In fact, they were doing that to us. They were pinning us in. They were winning second balls. They were creating chances. Just like everyone and their grandmother expected. Zinchenko gets burned by Salah.
He ate him, man. Jesus, he ate him.
Okay, all right. This drives me crazy about defenders, and I'm sure y'all will agree. If you know an attacker can get on their left foot and score on you, why do you
gave it to him?
Why do you give that up? Why do you give that up?
He gave it to him. To Salah.
I'm taking my chances with him coming down the right and having to push it back
every time. Every time.
Like, as soon as he turned, I'm like, that's goal.
Dude. But the thing is, Salah looked at him, and he literally just opened to that side. I'm like, you have to be kidding me, man. Mo Salah? There's no way. I'm giving up a penalty before I'm giving him that.
I mean, it was sort of like with Robin when he played for Bayern.
Yes.
You
never give him that side.
You always knew. And there were times where he did it, where he made a move and he got free. But there were also times where they leaned one way and you're like, you're giving him his shot. Like, what? Like, how do you lose that? I know tactically, Arteta probably told Zinchenko, whatever you do not let him get on his left.
Dude, he ate him.
And that was
gave him was good, and then he ran on it. I'm like, oh my god! You just saw it. You saw it coming, man.
Yeah, everyone in the stadium except for Zinchenko saw it coming. Everyone on the TV viewership, everyone in the gantry, everyone back in the NBC studios, we all saw it. We all knew you were about to get spun on your right hand side, and yet you still showed him the inside. I don't know, man. That ball was on all day long. I thought for the most part, when it worked out that Gabriel was the closer defender and Zinchenko tucked in behind him, I thought we did okay. Gabriel did okay against Salah. That's about as much as you can ask, really, is to do okay against Salah because it's Mo frickin' Salah, and he's an absolute legend. Smashes it in, but of course we all expected. We all expected him to do that, and and he was trying to do that all game. But honestly, I thought that other than that, okay, they played through the press a couple of times, but other than that, that was their only mode of attack. And if we would have just won more of the second balls, more of the battle in the midfield, we could have nullified that completely, like we did in the second half. Like I thought we definitely got on top of the game by the end of it in the second half, and we're a bit the better team. But that being said, lucky to not give that penalty away, because that's a stonewall pin. And I know the commentators said, "Oh, it's a falling motion. Odegaard's falling down." His hand didn't touch the ground, guys.
My man dribbled.
His hand did. His hand never touched the ground. His hand never touched the ground. It's not a falling motion. He never fell. If his hand goes down and he has to support himself by touching the ground, by planting into the ground to keep from falling over, okay. But he hasn't done that, and his hand has clearly moved towards the ball. As much as I hate it, as much as I don't want to say it,
yeah, he lost balance.
That's a penalty.
He lost his balance and he dropped his arm because he was going to hit the ground, but then he caught his balance. But at that point, the ball actually prevented him from falling on the ground.
The ball gave him his balance back.
Yeah, right. It stopped him from falling.
Essentially, and that's a stonewall pin. That's as sure a pin as the Ake one on Onana today. It just is. And I hate it, but it just is. And so, for all those out there saying Liverpool were robbed, well, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
well,
you were.
The funny thing about it is you have that, but I mean, that Liverpool missed their chances, so they weren't robbed, because that breakaway that Declan Rice had, that's the meme across the world.
I absolutely love the Declan Rice versus the world memes.
How does Trent miss that? How does he miss that?
How do you not play that further wide?
Just roll it. How do you not roll it into the corner? How do you not just roll it in?
How do you miss that? I don't know how you miss it.
It's incredible. I think he thought in his head, he's like, there's no chance that I miss this. And so he's like, I'm just going to put it on frame.
But he got
under it. And it has to go in, because there's no way. I couldn't believe it. My favorite of the memes is the comparison to Jon Snow at the Battle of the Bastards when he's alone. He's alone in the field and he's got the whole cavalry charging on him.
Yeah, but that's where people are like, well, they got robbed. No, you got to finish that. Yeah. You got to finish that one, because I mean that was there, and like you said, even the Zinchenko side, it was there all day. That was on it. They dropped 2 points. I'm sure Arsenal's happy for it. That's what I picked. Did I pick a draw? I think I picked a draw. I don't think I picked I wanted a draw.
You called it. You picked 1-1.
I wanted a draw. I knew I wanted
it. You picked it. You called the actual score, 1-1. Yeah. When they've given the ball to Salah there, I literally, the first thought I had was, we've given the game away.
Yeah, hey man.
I literally thought, I sunk down a little bit into the couches and we just lost. I knew we had lost, and then when he hits the post, I didn't even say anything. I was just.
Well, and it's funny because it looked like Salah ran out of gas on that, because he had to go a long way with the ball. He had to go a long way.
I praise Klopp for his decisions in game. I think they're always great. I disagree with one of the decisions he made, though. Playing Salah centrally to where he's going to be marked out by both Saliba and Gabriel. I didn't get that.
I mean, in the end, yeah.
I didn't get that one bit. Because
the wing was
on
there
the left,
for him the whole game.
He's still doing work.
Yeah.
That one just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that was a tough match. That was a tough game for sure. And I think that's definite credit goes to the Arsenal for hanging in there, because it was definitely a hanging in there kind of performance, especially in that first half. But I was very happy in the end, obviously, with the result. If you'd have given me that at the beginning of the game, I would have begrudgingly took it. Kind of the same feel. Uh, actually, I'm a little bit more relieved, really, to get those points. I thought that we didn't really create enough, but we didn't really control enough of the game to have our normal amount of chances. And got a goal and a set piece. So the commentator made the point that we've kind of compensated with set piece goals and corner kick goals. That side of the game has increased a bit more for us, even though we've kind of lacked the fluidity, lacked as the amount of goal scoring threat like we did last season. But
you're not allowed to play as open as you were last season.
Well, we're not trying to. We don't want to be that open because of how much we got hit on the break last season. Because of the kinds of games we were in, where we were scoring lots of goals, but we were also giving up lots of goals, and I thought that this game was kind of the very first game that it was last season. It was like, it looked like last season, whereas back and forth makes for a really exciting stuff for the neutral. Me, I was, kind of chomping through my fingernails, but yeah, I'll definitely take the point. At that moment, we were still top of the table. Villa had lost. Villa had drawn, actually.
Drawn.
They drew Sheffield. Should have lost, yep. And then, so at that point, we were still on top of the table, still on top for Christmas, so I was excited for that, of course. And tomorrow night, we have a chance at revenge for our energy drink special loss to the West Hammers. But this time it's going to be the full squad. We've had a nice long rest since.
This should be an awesome game.
Comparatively.
Well, it shows Havers is suspended for accumulation. So
someone else is suspended as well.
That's
I think Ben White is suspended.
So
they picked them in the lineup. Like it has them selected. It's only Kai Havertz is suspended. Everything else is an injury. Because you got Partey as an injury, Tomiyasu is an injury, Timber is an injury, and Vieira is an injury. But Ben White is available.
Yeah, maybe I got that backwards then. But no Havertz. It's not really a big deal. We'll probably see Trossard in there, especially with the Vieira.
How do you feel about Trossard in the Martinelli role in this one?
That's his role. That's where he goes. That's what he plays normally.
How did you think about his performance?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Martinelli was poor.
Yeah,
was really poor, to be honest with you. And I think that I'm a big Trossard fan. I am, and I think that he was given a little bit more, honestly, when he come in. He looked like he had a little bit more impetus than Martinelli. I'm shocked that Martinelli he just refuses to take on defenders this season. I don't know what.
Yeah, I can't figure that out.
I don't know what that's about at all. He refuses to try to get down the outside. I think it was Quansah or Gomez, perhaps. Dude, you can burn Joe Gomez. Because if Trossard can get past Gomez, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I like the way Trossard holds the ball up. He normally looks to kind of for that pass back, and to kind of get the 2v1s, to kind of get the overloads where he can make the space on the outside. And I like him playing that role. He's used to that. That's what he did all last season when he came in for us. But I think we're going to see him in the Havertz spot in the left 8 in this game tomorrow. Just because it definitely won't be unless he does the Jorginho, Rice, Odegaard midfield, which
you do not want to do that with Paqueta and Kudus, and I mean,
yeah, I mean it's gonna be who's in that midfield? It's going to be Suchek, Agard,
Alvarez.
or is Agard in the back? Yeah, so it'll be Alvarez, Suchek, and Paqueta. Yeah, I think it'll be Trossard. It'll probably be Rice, Trossard, Odegaard,
Yeah.
which I would prefer. I would prefer that in there.
Yeah.
But I think we should handle business. I think they'll sit back, try to make us beat a low block and try to counter on us. It'll definitely be way different than the last game we played against them because we played absolutes. We played the scrubs. We played the worst team, the worst 11 we could. And they were Paqueta was getting a little cocky in that game. I'm not going to lie. They thought that they were having their way with it, doing little flicks and tricks and whatnot. And, it's not how this is going to go tomorrow. Just so you know there, Mr. Paqueta. It's going to be I'm hoping that we, get back to what we do best, maintain control of the game, win all the second balls, battle in the midfield. Don't let them get the ball at all, really, and control the game. It is at home, so we should definitely be looking to boss the ball and boss the territory. And we got to finish. Absolutely have to finish our chances. And I think we should. I think we should do just fine. I've predicted a 2-0 Arsenal victory. I think if we play our game and finish our chances, I think this should be light work.
I'm gonna go with 3-2. Just looking at 3-0 Arsenal. 3-2 Arsenal. Sorry, 3-2 Arsenal. Just
you said 2-1 in your.
Oh no! I'm thinking it's the next game. Ignore.
We're talking about West Ham. You want to switch? You want to switch your West Ham prediction?
No. Leave it. I don't even know what I said, but leave it whatever I said.
You said 2-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah, well, I mean, I said 3-2, so I'm still thinking you win by 1. So yeah, just leave it. Leave it the way it is.
Yeah.
I jumped ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. We are in the and you said 2-2. You said it'll be a 2-2 draw, Patrick, in your predictions you sent me.
Yep. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
I think it's going to be a great game. One thing that I've really noticed, because I watched a little bit of West Ham here recently, with them not having Antonio, I feel like they're a little bit more fluid. Paqueta has more impact than he did previously. A lot of that previously was James Ward-Prowse and, getting that final ball up to
is he injured too?
Prowse? No, I don't think so.
Is he just not in the team?
I think he played the other day.
Huh.
Yeah, hold on.
I think he had the first goal or something
West
like
Ham,
that.
Right? Yeah, Ward-Prowse is back. He's playing.
For Man United, the Man United game.
He either had a goal or
so much has happened.
Yeah,
so many games.
For a period of time. I heard that somebody still has to play 3 games in the next 7 days. I can't remember who it was. Maybe
Rough.
Everton?
Yeah.
Somebody.
Wolf.
Anyway, so I think this is going to be a really good game. If I'm wrong, I will come and admit it. But I think West Ham will have some success. How much? It kind of depends on how Kudus plays to me. If he comes out and he plays well, I could see a draw. If he doesn't put pressure on y'all, then it's probably like a 3-1 Arsenal. But I'm going to go 2-2. I said it before. I'll stick with it.
Nice. I think that I think there's a world where, they could have some success, but I think all in all, we're just too strong. And hopefully we can show it tomorrow afternoon. But there is another game that Lewis was trying to jump ahead to. We are at Craven Cottage at the weekend, going to Fulham.
That's what I am.
Who are bad, who have definitely fallen way off. They're coming off the back of a home loss to Burnley. So they lost to Burnley 2-0 at home, and then went to Bournemouth and took a 3-0 was that 2 days ago? That was on Boxing Day. Dominant goal lanky, showing them how it's done. So I'm obviously tomorrow might, change the mood, or might, a loss would be horrific, and then the confidence might be a bit shaken, but we should win at Fulham.
Yes,
No
you
matter
should.
no matter what happens with the West Ham game, which we should also win. We should totally decimate Fulham.
Yeah,
I
they
think,
haven't scored a goal since their 10 goals in 2 games run.
yeah,
Because they have 5 against Forest, 5 against West Ham. Then they lost 3-0 to Newcastle, 2-0 to Burnley, 3-0 to Bournemouth.
yeah, it could be a bloodbath. It could be bad.
I'm going to go with 3-0 Arsenal.
That's the same thing I just typed in. I'm going 3-0 Arsenal. They're going to decimate Fulham for sure. You know what? I'm going to be different. I'm going 4-0.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I'm here on a high note.
I'm uber confident, man. Fulham are bad, and from what I've seen of them recent, from the games of theirs that I've actually watched, they've not been good at all. Yeah, even at the Cottage, I think Arsenal are gonna rip them apart. What you saying, Lewis? You want to stick with that 3-0 you said earlier?
No, well, I'm looking, and like Fulham are not good at all, man. Newcastle smacked them, and Newcastle was out of form in that period.
That was a red
Everton,
card, though. That was a 20th minute red card for Fulham.
they're still not good because Newcastle's not good. Everton beat them, and Everton is because Everton is only 2 points from the drop now after their fantastic run. Give them credit to the run. They lost to Burnley.
They're 1 point from the drop.
One, yeah, I knew it was close to it though.
They're big
Burnley
Chelsea
beat them.
fans this weekend.
Burnley beat them 2-0, and Bournemouth beat them 3-0. I don't see why Arsenal wouldn't drop a 4 spot on them. So I'm gonna go 4-0.
Yeah.
Did you say 4-0? I thought you said 3.
Well, Patrick said 3, and then I switched it to 4.
I mean, you're gonna win. I just don't know if you're gonna score 5, so I can't go to 5, but I can go to 2.
2. All right. The conservative one. No, I think we absolutely smash Fulham.
Yeah,
and hopefully we're coming off the back of a nice, confident, controlled win over West Ham as well. So I'm definitely calling for another 6 points. And at that point, because of the way the fixtures work out, should we win, we will be on top of the table. Liverpool play Newcastle on the Monday, on New Year's Day, I believe it is.
New Year's Day, yeah.
So we will have played before them. Hopefully we will have made a return to top of the table. Yeah, man, I'm feeling pretty confident right now. I'm feeling good. It's a good time to be an Arsenal fan. Lots of, fixtures coming, and January is going to be telling. That's for sure. We got 2 games with Liverpool coming up in the the next month or so. But like City's run, as you said, Lewis, Arsenal's run in the here and now games we should be winning. West Ham, then Fulham, and then of course we got Palace and Forest after that before we play Liverpool again. So it's a nice little run.
Full points.
Should be full points for Arsenal. I'm pretty excited about the game tomorrow. Hoping we can get back to winning ways, get the nice 3 points at home. Definitely 3 points Arsenal should be winning. All right. Well, there have been a ton of fixtures in this festive period. There have been lots of goals, lots of games. And I think we'll just do this kind of potpourri style. We'll look back at some of the more memorable games. What is going on at the moment with Aston Villa? They've drawn Sheffield in a game that, frankly, Sheffield threw away.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've lost to Man United
Oh,
at Old Trafford.
It's like they got up 2-0 and expected United to play dead.
I couldn't believe it.
Remember when I said to you they're gonna ascend and that pressure's gonna get to them? This is exactly what happened. Because right after their run, they started running into troubles. They was like, yeah, we gave the top teams all their problems. And I'm like, yeah, people are starting to look at you at the top, and no one had expectations of them. Now they have expectations, and now it's hard.
I mean, it's sort of like Newcastle last year. Newcastle would look incredible at times, and then you'd be like, is this the same team? And that's kind of what Villa is right now.
Expectations.
And I'm really surprised because I would have thought that Emery would be able to kind of combat that a little bit more with his experience. But it does seem like, I don't want to say they're looking ahead on teams, but it seems like they've been reading their press clippings a little bit.
Expectations, man. They think, hey, you beat the big boys. Hey, we're the guys. Because remember, I was like, hey, man, they'll be on top. And then they just dropped the ball, man.
Yeah, I mean, they could have gone top of the league at Christmas, and instead they flubbed it. No other way to put it. They flubbed it, and then they go and lose to United. I mean, they drew Sheffield. They lose to United. I mean, that's what, 5 points dropped.
Sure.
Yeah,
is.
What a game that was too. The United Villa game.
Hoyland came good, man.
Hoyland finally
scores
Premier League goal.
What a time to score. What a time to
finally scores a goal in a game that they win.
Yeah,
because all of his other goals in the Champions League, they lost the games that he scored in. So finally gets a game-winning goal in the Premier League, no doubt. Yeah, man. I thought that you hate to see it, dude. You just hate to see United pull this out, man. But I think the atmosphere really got behind them, and the crowd really got behind them in the second half.
Which was wild because in the first half they were
boos.
They were booed hard.
Boos at halftime for sure. When that second goal went in, and the pressure was really on, and the crowd was getting into it, I was like, man, Villa's gonna break here.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna try not to bend, but they're gonna flip and break here. And when Hoyland scored, I was like, yeah, all right. I don't hate the result because it's a title rival now, Villa. And that, as you say, Lewis, might have been their downfall. But also, I hate the result because it's United. But,
Are they not the most confusing team? I always joke about them always being up there in the top 7, and they're still there. Like, comfortably.
It's wild.
I don't understand it.
It's wild to me that they've managed. They've only drawn once, where they held Liverpool at Anfield.
They've lost 8.
But they've lost 8 games.
They've lost the same amount of games as Chelsea. It's just they've won 3 more games.
Which is crazy. It's crazy. And they don't even have like their home form. It's not even like about their home form.
Nope.
Because they've lost 3 or 4 games at Old Trafford this season.
Yep.
Which is nuts. Just a baffling scoreline, this one. And I mean, I was in the car when so the service was kind of coming in and out, but still, I was just, I thought that credit United, got to give it to them. That's why I'm so sick right now, because you got to give them credit for making that kind of a comeback, 2 goals down.
At least it's not Spurs.
Yeah, that's true. Ten Hag's job straight hanging by a thread. Surprised he didn't get fired at halftime.
No, honestly. They made an interesting point during the game. I think it was Drury that said this, but now that there has been some settlement in terms of the investment into the club, who's involved now is clear. Could that calm down some of the chaos that's within the club, and the players as a result are like, okay, now there's some stability. Now we can actually be focused on just winning games.
Right. Maybe that's going to be their turnaround. They're going to push on, and
that's such a weird. I hear you, Patrick, and I agree. But as a human, it's so weird, especially since I've played sport. Sport has always been the way to escape all that stuff. So you would think you would play your best to escape that,
And I agree, but I also think that if it's a consistent question every time you go to work, you can't avoid it. I mean, it has been very front and center, like, oh, this is going to be taken over by this. No, it's not. Okay, well, here's, and you kind of wonder what the future is for your club that you're playing for. And I don't 100% agree with it by any means, but it was an interesting point because I was like, I could see it. That instability can rub off on you. And it can even add another level of pressure, even because you don't even know who you're playing for, other than for your fans. You don't know who you're playing for. Are we playing for the Glazers? Are we going to play for, who ended up getting involved?
Radcliffe.
Radcliffe, yeah. 300 million, and 25%. So I mean, it may help. Who knows? But it did seem like when they scored that third goal, like all of the red side of Manchester like exhaled for the first time in probably 6 weeks.
But yeah. But here's what my reason for that is because that you can look at, and I mean, I'm going to use City as the example, and even Everton. Both of those clubs are dealing with things where you got points taken away or points or fines or different things where there's charges. And Everton raised their level after that because the field was where the peace was. City won 5 trophies in the midst of all that. So this is where I'm saying I really have to start to look at you have to look at the players. These guys are professionals. And I mean, while I hate to use the number metric, but you're paid, 6 figures a week. You got to turn that off, man. You got to turn that off and play. And it's what you said. And it's one of X's points about playing for the badge, man. It doesn't matter. First of all, Manchester United is never moving from where they are. So it doesn't matter who owns the team. And you're going to always get paid because Manchester United is a global brand. So what part am I afraid of? That I'm going to get a new manager? Well, we've had like 5. So what difference does that make? As long as I get on the field and I start and I play, then I should be fine. And this is where, and I'm not saying anything about Bruno Fernandes, but he plays a role. Bruno, who owns the team? Get on the field. It's 11 of us guys on the field. When we put somebody else on, we're going to drag them with us too. But this is what we're going to do.
Well, I mean,
I agree with you.
I agree with you. I had this same argument last year with Chelsea. At some point, you're a professional. You're getting paid to play this game. You go play the game at the best of your ability. And I'm not saying that, they've been holding back by any means. I just think that they've been playing poorly. And I felt that way about Chelsea last year. But it also comes into question, like, what is affecting them? Psychologically, what's affecting them? And maybe, and again, I don't fully agree with Drury. Yeah, Peter Drury. But it was an interesting comment, and he was talking about how he had that issue when there was a takeover when he played somewhere, and how once that kind of settled down, everybody kind of chilled. I was like, okay, let's go play, kind of thing. And I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that attitude by any means, but I could see it potentially playing a role.
I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of that because I feel like that comes in more when it's like the manager is about to change or they think the manager is going to change. Do the players really believe that Radcliffe and the whatever group he's a part of coming in is going to really change a whole lot? Because first of all, it's only 25% of the club that he's buying. So it's not like the Glazers are actually going anywhere, and
Now he
okay,
is in charge of the transfers, though. He
they
is a part of
said
sports
he
now.
was in charge of the transfer, sure, but I mean, they're still going to sign off on it, right? So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I don't necessarily know how much. I definitely agree with you that it shouldn't
No, it
be
shouldn't at all.
be
It's
in their heads at
100%
all,
no.
And the big question is, is that point going to be proven completely invalid when they go to Forest
And lay it in.
this weekend and lay an absolute egg on the field because Forest just wrecked Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
And Newcastle, let's be honest, are plummeting.
Yes.
You made that comment in the chat about when you lose to Chelsea, that's what happens. You just feel so
We
bad
told you
about
that.
yourself. You get held back.
I mean, United didn't score again until against Villa, since the non-foul called goal on McTominay.
Yeah.
McTominay's second goal. We just bring people down. I don't know how to explain it.
So yeah, man, I don't know. Forrest riding high after the Chris Wood hat trick. I actually watched that full 90 this morning.
I watched it live and I was just blown away.
Yeah.
I mean,
like Newcastle were poor.
See how much space
they were so
had?
poor. They were so poor, man.
I mean,
Trippier was poor. Got hooked. Crazy.
And
yeah, that game was nuts.
They went to St. James's to do that.
Yeah, that was at St. James. Did you know that Chris Wood has scored for? There was some stat about he's scored in consecutive Boxing Day fixtures for Newcastle and Forest, but for opposite teams.
Yeah,
he scored, and they were both at St. James's Park. Both of those goals, both those fixtures.
That felt even better for him.
Oh yeah,
it did. He looked so good too.
Not good enough to play at St. James, but I'll come and score a hat trick on you. Yeah, absolutely. But I think Forest will be confident going into this one. United are just not the same away from home. I am gonna go with a 2-2 draw.
I'm looking at the last fixture. The reverse fixture in August was 3-2 United, and Forest was up 2-0. I think
been up 3.
I think they're gonna win. It's I mean, it's at the City Ground, so I mean they just won a pretty significant game for themselves. So I'm gonna go with a 2-1 for Forest.
2-1 Forest. Nothing to build on for old Ten Hag, eh? What you think, Patrick?
I don't know. This one's tough. I've actually struggled to pick this one because, it's kind of like what I say about Chelsea. Like, is that momentum real or is it just going to fall flat? And then I look at Forest and it's like, is under Nuno, is that the new Forest that is going to give everybody problems? Because, I mean, they carved up that Newcastle defense. And not a lot of teams have done that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, who do I go with? So I'm going to go. Let's go 2-1 Forest. I was leaning towards potential United win, but I just.
Did he just say the same score I did?
He did.
No, seriously.
I'm joking.
This is I seriously have struggled with this one. Like I'm picking games and I'm like, I don't know how to pick this one because City Ground, we were talking about environments earlier, right? City Ground at night, which the environment should be buzzing. Wood's he's gonna feel confident going into this one. He's gonna have some chances. I did see Varane was back for United.
Does he even play? Like, he didn't play him though.
He played against.
Well,
Villa.
he doesn't have a choice right now. He doesn't have a choice.
He has to play him. They're
Maguire's out.
Maguire and
Shaw's out. Maguire's out. He's got no choice at this point.
So, but I think, let's go 2-1 Forest. I think that Forest will have better attacking options. Even though Højlund got his goal, I think they've got a better attack than United.
Alanga gonna get one against his former employers rather. But speaking of
celebrate,
probably speaking of probably the best fixture of next weekend, I would say is Liverpool versus Newcastle. And Liverpool back to the top of the table with a dominating performance at Burnley. Yeah, man, Burnley were not good in that game. Liverpool racked up the shots. Did not finish very
Liverpool
well.
Had 2 goals overturned in that game.
Yeah, they should have won this game a lot more. It was very comfortable.
Yeah,
it was real comfortable, to be honest.
It didn't feel like Burnley was at any point in that game.
No, absolutely not. So since we're kind of getting it quick, I'm going to predict the Villa-Burnley game and say that Villa's going to smash them 3-0 at Villa Park. Burnley didn't offer much at home. Don't think they're going to offer much away from home. You want to get that one in right quick?
I'm going to go 4-0 Villa.
Yeah. What you saying, Lewis?
I think Villa's in a weird form. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Burnley to bounce back. Absolutely. But yeah, the Newcastle at Anfield, man. Newcastle are
they're gonna get smoked, man.
They're in a rough moment, and I agree.
Think about Newcastle lost this fixture at home with Poole down to 9, or was it 10? It was
that
9.
That was 10. They were down to 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
but they were without Van Dijk. That's right. They were without Van Dijk.
Yeah, they're gonna smash
it might as well been 9 because of the way he's been playing defensively.
I'm saying 3-0. Poole are gonna absolutely wreck them. And if they give as much space as they did to Forest, yeah, exactly. The long sigh is the exact response. It's going to be bad news, Bears, and Newcastle skid. I do believe will continue.
Well, I'm going to go with, and it's funny because somebody mentioned this. I think Eddie Howe is in a serious issue right now. Because if they get smacked in this game, they might fire him, man.
That would still be shocking, but
But I mean,
if they're going to go with at that point.
So they crashed. They're out of Champions League.
Their current run is awful.
Yeah, it is.
They're out of Champions League. The only team they beat was a horrible Fulham team, and they lost. I mean, literally, they lost the games that they weren't going to win. And
away to Luton,
and to Forest.
Home to Forest, away to Luton.
And you can't. I mean, to a degree, remember when we made the joke about, well, they got injuries. That ain't the point, man. You're not supposed to lose to them.
You can't lose to Luton.
You can't lose to them.
Trippier, that whole injury thing. I don't think you're the only team in the league that's dealing with injuries, buddy.
Yeah.
City don't have. I mean, the players they need. I mean, Arsenal had some injuries as well. I mean, you got 4 guys out.
Everybody has injuries.
3 outside backs injured. Right now.
This is why I'm saying I think that might. I mean, it sounds shocking, but they're owned by big money. You can't go into the new year. This is on January 1st. This is the first game of the year. If he loses, I don't. And it's the window is open then too. It makes it even easier to get rid of him.
Yeah, the PIF's not going to be happy.
Could be rough. Yeah. You got a score?
I'm sorry, they're not involved. I apologize.
I think they will score one, but I think it's 3-1 Liverpool.
That's what I wrote down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine. I'm not joking about the same pick thing. That didn't matter.
No, seriously,
Yeah, but 3-1,
the Forest United one's the only one that I didn't have a write down on. Because I seriously, I can't pick that one to save my life.
I understand. But
Yeah.
I mean, Liverpool has won the last 5 games against them, man.
They're going to smash. It's
Yeah,
going to be bad.
You're going to smack them, man. 3-1.
It's going to be bad for sure. But we'll take a look actually at tomorrow's other game. Brighton hosting Spurs. Patrick and I have gone, actually all three of us have gone for Spurs victories. X said 2-1 to Brighton, but I don't know, man.
I respect it.
Brighton are in a bad way right now.
Yeah, they are.
They're plummeting. Didn't you just say earlier in the pod that they're in like 9th or 8th? Brighton.
Ninth place.
Are
Ninth place, 2 points in front of Chelsea.
You want Newcastle? Why don't you go down to Brighton and talk about injuries? Because holy crap, it's bad news bears for Brighton, and I don't see it getting better tomorrow. As much as I hate Spurs, they actually have looked halfway decent at times. They got injuries too, but I think Basouma's back.
No,
is he still? He's still got the suspension. Is Udogie back? I think Udogie's back. Someone was coming back, I think, but I think Spurs are
injured.
Udogie's back. Back.
I think Spurs will be just fine in this one. Honestly, think that their next game at the weekend might be a bit trickier.
It is.
Bournemouth coming to town, and Bournemouth ain't no joke these days.
On fire.
Bournemouth ain't no joke these days.
They're singing the manager's name in on the South Coast.
I'm going 2-2.
I am too.
Spurs Stadium. I'm picking Spurs to win that one. It's at the Spurs Stadium, man.
What you saying? What's your score?
I think 3-2, but because I think there will be goals. There will be goals because I mean Bournemouth has scored 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. So I'm going to go with 2. So 3-2.
Yeah, we've Patrick and I have both gone 2-2 in that one. I think I think that'll be a dynamite game.
It'll be a fun game.
I think that'll be a real fun game. Both teams like to go for it. Hopefully, Mr. Golanke can figure out that high line. Runs from deep. Bournemouth, I'm telling you, runs from deep. I'm telling you right now, that's how to break down the Ange line. Tavernier, Kluivert, come on, guys. Let's get these deep runners. Philip Billing, come on, bro. Runs from deep. That's how you beat Spurs. I'm telling you right now. But on the other side of it,
to see Solanke scoring goals, and we struggle to score because he was in the academy, and we tried to keep him, and him and his father forced him to his move to Liverpool, and then he did nothing at Liverpool, and now he's actually doing something.
Well, we might be in for him in January. There's rumors flying.
That would be an interesting move.
I'd rather Ivan Toney, but that's just me. But on the other side of that, Brighton are visiting West Ham at the weekend.
The Bubbles.
And it's gonna be rough. I think even though I think Arsenal are gonna beat West Ham, I think West Ham have a shot at beating Brighton.
Oh yeah.
Especially at home. I'm going 2-1 to the Hammers.
I'm going 2-0.
I think Brighton give up too many chances, make too many mistakes in their gamble-esque build-up. I think they'll get pounced on. I think West Ham will win it. What you saying, Lewis?
West Ham beat them the last time they played 3-1, and they are unbeaten in 7 home games.
It was an absolute thrashing when they played them too. It wasn't as close as that 3-1 scoreline showed.
Right. And then West Ham and Brighton have not drawn any of their last 4 matches against each other, so I see no reason for them not to continue that streak. Because Brighton has conceded the most penalties this season, I'm going to go with a 2-1 West Ham win.
2-1 to the Hammers. Absolutely. Trucking right along here. Everton actually weren't awful today versus City.
No, they were not.
And they're going to Molineux. That's a tough one, man.
It is.
Wolves are such an enigma. You never know
They
how
put
to.
4 past Brentford today.
Yeah, the Wolves smashed Brentford today. I did see that. I saw some of the highlights. I didn't actually get to see the full thing. It's a massive win. That's a massive win for Gary O'Neill's side. Coming off the back of beating Chelsea, now they've absolutely smashed Brentford. This is going to be another really good game, man. I'm going 2-1 Wolves.
I'm going to draw 1-1.
I can definitely see that as well. What you got, Lewis?
Well, I'm going to throw stats at you again. Wolves are unbeaten in 7 home games. Wolves haven't lost to Everton in their last 5 meetings. 4 wins, 1 draw. That's my score, 4-1.
Wow.
Another 4-1 for the Wolverhampton Wandering Wolves.
I will give you props if you know that one.
Yeah, for sure. Found their scoring boots, and they've found Lewis's confidence. That's for sure.
4-1.
And the last game of this weekend is actually the battle of today's losers. Palace hosting Brentford.
Mm-hmm.
As Xavier would say, 0-0 written all over it. That's my prediction.
I'm going 1-1.
Both these teams are crap right now. Crap.
Yeah. I think Elise is a difference maker, though, compared to what Brentford will bring. But I like Wisa to get a goal, too.
Yeah.
So.
Mbumo's still out.
Yeah.
Or Mbomo, or however you say it. Mbuemo.
Like crazy.
Yeah. It's bad news, Bears, over there. What you saying, Lewis?
So Crystal Palace haven't lost to Brentford in their last 5 meetings. They haven't kept the clean sheet in 8 matches. And Brentford have lost their last 4 matches. So I'm going to go with the Palace win. I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1 to the Flying Eagles.
Roy's boys.
Man, I don't know. I can't get behind that. Palace are really,
this is
really
a pretty
bad
even matchup.
Well, if you look
I'm
at the
just looking
scores,
at the stats, they're pretty even.
the last 5 games, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 0-0, 0-0. Those are the last 5 games.
Well, that supports my 0-0 theory. Palace today should have a couple of those breaks, man. Palace.
They should have scored.
The 4, that's embarrassing. There were some embarrassing touches in there. They're bad, and they're really bad. And so Brentford aren't doing much better. Their records are similar. Yeah, man, 0-0.
Even match, I'm telling you.
It's gonna be even for sure.
Watch it be a barn burner, like 4-3
It's
or
like a 4-3. Crazy game.
Elise has a brace and Eze has a PK, and who was that striker for them?
Mateta.
Mateta.
Jean-Philippe Mateta. I like Mateta.
Tank.
I like him. I actually like him. I thought he had a good game today. He holds up the ball really well. He was giving Badiashile and Disasi absolute nightmares.
He was.
I mean, how do you let my man? I was shocked that he's put on a 40-yard sprint and Badiashile couldn't catch him. This dude's 19 feet tall.
It's because he turned Badiashile inside out to begin with.
And had
that turn was really good. Badiashile had nothing to do with it.
I thought his Mateta's hold-up play was fantastic.
Very good.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that Palace seem to have pieces, but they can't ever
put it all together.
They can't really put it together.
2-1 Palace, I'm telling you. They're going to win.
Hey, man, you got I hear you. Back in old Roy and his experience. Did you notice that the commentator said that his assistant, rain, shine, sleet, snow, May, January, doesn't care. He's wearing shorts.
Yep.
Guy's got a parka and a toboggan on with his gym shorts.
Hey, I used to do the hoodie and shorts even when it was like 36 degrees outside. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The depths of a Charleston, South Carolina winter will give you the flip-flops and hoodie weather, but that's only if you're brave enough to, apparently that dude is, because it looked cold. Everyone else looked miserable.
Yeah.
He's over there in his shorts,
Living
well
his
done.
best life.
Living
but
his best life.
he looked like he was shivering too, because
Yeah.
he's kind of like really close.
Oh, for sure. They had every right to be shivering as bad as they are. But, yeah, there you have it. We got predictions in for week 20. We've taken a look at some of the craziness. There's definitely been a lot of games coming thick and fast, and they don't stop. We take a break on Friday, but we got games Thursday, none on Friday, but then it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They just keep on coming. And then the next weekend is FA Cup. Hopefully Arsenal don't throw it away. Bigger fish to fry and all that. But we'll definitely try to keep up with it. We'll definitely be back soon. Not sure if that's going to be on Monday or Thursday or whenever that is. So go ahead and get that notification bell on so you know.
Another Wednesday even,
We might do another Wednesday. It's feeling good. Definitely felt good. We've definitely enjoyed it tonight. So I hope you have as well. Go ahead and get the likes up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are on our way to 200 subscribers. Like I said, get the notification bell on. You'll know when the next episode is coming. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And, of course, you will see us next time.
Happy New Year.